You've underestimated everything I've been through. I think you can't imagine all the things that I can do. Watch this.
Hello everyone. In today's episode, we're going to make pancakes. Pancakes are one of the oldest foods for breakfast, and according to the good old wiki, we're talking prehistoric level. As you would expect, these have their own place for every culture. So for this video, I'm going to focus on the simple, pre-mixed box. I know, shocker. For what I call easy pancakes. This is one of those mixes where you just add water and stir. Well, if it's that simple, why do we need a video on it? Well, making the batter, very straightforward. Getting the timing right can be a little bit tricky. The kind of manner where the first few times you may want to make a little bit more batter than you think you'll need, just in case a few don't make it. Now, once the pancakes are made, they're great. You can have them with some butter and syrup, serve it with some eggs and a breakfast meat. I've even seen it prepared as a dessert by adding some ice cream. Some fast food chains will even use them as part of a breakfast sandwich, taking the place of traditional bread. Hey, it works. As far as making big batches to save for the next couple days, I've never really tried it, so I can't really tell you how well it works. Normally, I just make them fresh when I want them. If you made pancakes before and saved them as leftovers, let us know how well it went for you in the comments. The stuff you will need. Syrup. I might get some hate for this, but I honestly believe that the toppings are the most important part of the pancake. Don't get me wrong, you can use something other than syrup, fruit, ice cream, or whatever you prefer. Surprise! Pancake batter mix. By itself, it's very simple. This is the product you just add water to make pancakes. That being said, this video is for plain pancakes, but you can add some things into the batter. I have seen bananas, berries, chocolate chips, crushed bacon. There are quite a few ways to be creative. An entree. This is a good time to think of what do you plan to serve the pancakes with, if anything. Some combinations are bacon, eggs, sausage. Perhaps not all at once, but I've done it. Cooking spray. This helps prevent the pancakes from sticking to the pan. You could use butter if you prefer. A mixing bowl to mix things. Get a large bowl that can hold all the ingredients, and large enough so that when you mix it, it doesn't go flying everywhere. A spatula and a serving spoon. I'll use the serving spoon to get some of the batter onto the pan to help portion it out, and, trying to pour it from a big bowl just makes a mess. When the pancakes are ready to flip, the spatula is very helpful. I like my hands. They're useful. A measuring cup, so you can add the right amount of water. If your recipe requires anything else, like oil or what have you, you may need to measure that as well. And the big ticket item, the griddle. For this, I will be using a 10-inch square stovetop griddle, a single burner design. You can use a frying pan, and I'd recommend using one if you're doing this for the first time. Don't buy something you may not really want to use again. You may find that making these and keeping them hot can be a little tricky. This is one of those rare times when the entire entree is not prepared in one go. If you make one pancake at a time, they take about 4 minutes each, and by the time you get to the third pancake, the first one is cold. If you have a large number to make, you might want to have multiple frying pans going, and if that doesn't work for you, a cookie sheet with a layer of tin foil. Just put them on there, leave them in the oven at 200 degrees. You don't want to bake them, you just want to keep them warm. And if you're lucky, you can make great pancakes just like this. Now, let's get cooking. First, we're going to need to know how many pancakes we plan to make, and we should overestimate a little, just in case the first few suck. The back of the box should say how much mix to add. I often find with pancakes, it's better to make a few too many than to have too few, especially if, any of them are not usable. I will then place the mix inside the bowl, and then measure out the amount of water for that amount of mix. I'll pour it in and start stirring it. Depending on the product you're using, you may need to add some oil or eggs. Go with how the product instructions say to handle it. Then I'm going to mix it up until all the lumps are gone. I want to make sure that there are no pockets of dry mix, and the lumps are, small if any. Now, before we proceed, it's decision time. The size of the pancake and how many pans that you should use are going to help figure out how much you should scoop at a time. The second decision you will have to make is where do you plan to hold the pancakes while you're making the next batch of pancakes. Now we're going to preheat the griddle or the frying pan with a medium heat. I would say a number 6 on my dial. The griddle I have has this really cool feature where this little red circle will turn solid when it's ready. One of these days I'll remember that when I'm using it. However, for the purposes of the video, I use the old school method of making water dance. I place a couple drops and I see how fast they boil off. When it takes a second or so, it's ready. Here's where I put on some of the cooking spray and then quickly spoon on some batter. As you can see here, I'm placing 1 scoop in each corner, give or take. They'll spread a little, but you want to try to have them not touching. Once you have the batter in the pan, you're going to want to keep an eye on it. They will need roughly 2 minutes per side, and the real way that you can tell is when the surface starts to solidify. You will see bubbles start to form on top, and as it cooks, you may want to move the griddle around to make sure that it's heating evenly. You want pretty much those bubbles all over the top. Once the top looks like the moon, all full of craters, then it's time to flip them. Carefully place the spatula underneath the pancake and flip it back into the same spot that you pulled it from. After 2 minutes, it should be done. At this point, you can place the pancake in the pre-designated pancake holding spot and remove any pieces of batter or anything else so the griddle is clear. Add some fresh spray and another scoop of batter, and you start the process until you run out of batter. For the video, this is what a 6-inch diameter pancake would look like. You can make them a little bit larger, but considering the size of this griddle, I can only go so big before it makes a mess when I try to flip it. While making them one at a time will get a much more even cook throughout the pancake, it does take a little longer, so plan accordingly. A few things to keep in mind. Some people will like them a little bit well done, as this makes the edges crispy. You may want to cook them a little bit less than what I'm showing here, but this is how my wife likes them, so this is how I make them. And what do you know? You have a stack of delicious pancakes, and that looks like victory. And until next time, remember to cook the easy way. If you find this video entertaining, then like, share, and subscribe.
Everything I've worked for is resting on this moment. Don't know what I love more, the fight or the focus. I'm always in the shadows, hardly know that I exist. Think you're the best, but get ready for the plot twist. Watch this!